has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
We love Mike DeCourcy on Coast to Coast, the legendary scribe of the sporting news. You catch him on Fox Sports doing college basketball, the Big Ten Network. He's on the take for the Indiana Hoosiers. And he's a real diehard Steeler fan. He won't admit that publicly. But I want to start with your article on the Tennessee quarterback who quit and, blew off practice, games, spring games, walked out, transferred to UCLA, I guess with his brother. And I really liked the end of your piece when you were talking about that he'd failed the business class with his decisions on, at some level, like he may not understand what he's dealing with at the next level, what this is going to do to him or what it's going to mean for him in the future. That he, I'm assuming at some level when I read it, that you thought he made a bad decision. And then some people think Heupel's like a hero for saying, get out then.
Yeah, I don't buy the hero act now because at the time he had a chance to take a stand and say, we're going with a Tennessee man, as Bo Schembechler once said when Bill Frieder left for Arizona State in the middle of the NCAA tournament. We're going to go with a Michigan man. Well, he decided to go with a UCLA man at quarterback. They're bringing in a transfer from the portal who had been at UCLA and now will have the shot to be the Vols quarterback. So no hero designation for Tennessee. I think they did the right thing, but I don't think that they stand above everybody else in college football for doing the right thing. But Nico, in his circumstance, did the absolute wrong thing on every level. At the time, it seemed like maybe he could at least get some short-term money out of it, Scott. But every report indicates that he's going to make less at UCLA than he was going to make at Tennessee. And add in the complication of what you have, the signal you have sent to the NFL. Look, if he turns out to be the next, I'm trying to think of somebody that was somebody that's an absolute no-brainer number one guy, and we haven't had one of those for a while. But if he turns out to be someone that absolutely is so gifted that you have to take him, it won't really impact him. But I don't think that I've seen anybody who analyzes these things suggest that he's that. He's a guy who's going to fight to get a job in the NFL. And what he has now done is put on his resume that he'll walk out, that for an extra dollar or two, presumably, he'll walk out. Well, that's not what they're looking for in a backup quarterback. They want you there every single day. Every single minute of film. They want you always available. They want you committed. And he has suggested to the NFL now he's not that. And Scott, there's so much money in being an NFL quarterback and not just the elite, not just the top 5 or 6. I guess Burrow is the guy I should have mentioned in my suggestion. Like if he turns out to be Joe Burrow, that's one thing. But he's not. He's not that guy.
He's not even close to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so he has hurt himself immeasurably, both in the short term where he'll take a pay cut, but more importantly in the long term where teams are going to he's going to have to earn their trust. Josh Dobbs, who came from the same university, Tennessee, a brilliant young man who has been an absolute asset to every organization he's been with, but never a great quarterback, a nice backup to have who'll do the right things and show up on time and be smart and make good suggestions and pay attention in meetings and use his intelligence to contribute to the franchise. That's what your model is. And Josh Dobbs is going to make, I think it's around $8 million over the next 2 years. He's been in the league for basically a decade. And when he's done playing football, he'll have made about $50 million, ballpark, maybe more. And how you could mess around with that, I have no idea.
Then you're just stupid. You wrote about the prices of guys that are backups now that are like third stringers, like Allen, that played with the Steelers, and now he's making like 1.2 or something like that. But that they're taken seriously as pros in, everything you mentioned, the meetings, practice, being on time, being there. This is no joke. I don't think the kid understands at this point in his life what he's dealing with in the future. Someone's not giving him good advice.
Yes, there's no question. The advice was awful. It was horrendous because what he absolutely should have done was complete the process at Tennessee. And then if he decided that he wanted to transfer in the window that opened after the spring game and all of that, I don't think that people would have thought it was a wise move, but I don't think it would have been viewed in quite the same way as not showing up for the final practice and not showing up for the spring game is being viewed. I think that's a much different scenario. Again, right. It never made sense to leave Tennessee when the starting job was his. The team around him was very capable. They won right. 10 games a year ago. It never made sense to leave that. But if there was a way to leave that he did not follow, that would at least have been less objectionable.
So he's not a trendsetter. You don't believe that other, let's just say, kids are going to follow his lead and try to pull these shenanigans, because it would behoove them not to do that.
No, I think he's now the example that every other coach will use when faced with that. Someone coming and saying they want more money, they'll say, "You want to be the next Nico? I don't think you want to be the next Nico, but if you do, the door is right there." And I think the player will say, "Nah, I don't want to be the next Nico." I don't know how many guys will be dissuaded from making that extra ask for a little bit more money. I don't know exactly how many. I think there will still be some dissuaded from doing that. If you're going to negotiate, you do it appropriately when you don't have already an agreement in place, which Nico's reportedly was a multi-year agreement that he agreed to back when he was coming out of high school. So you need to have, in the current circumstance, you need to be up for renewal, so to speak, to pull off what Nico tried to do.
So the Sporting News wrote the other day, somebody in there was writing about the Steelers should go after Cousins. I want to know if you buy into that. And I also want to know, you said to me earlier off air that you don't think really more than one guy's a first rounder as far as quarterbacks go in this draft Thursday night.
No, everything I see, Scott, when I look at the tape on the other first rounders, aside from Cam Ward, the other first round projected quarterbacks, when I look at the tape, and then when I look at the scouting reports from people who are paid to do these things, everything I read is, okay, what's the problem with Shedeur Sanders? Not a great arm. What's the problem with Jackson Dart? Not a great arm. Hey, if you don't have a great arm, there's no way you should ever be a first round pick. I don't care how elite you are at processing information, as Shedeur apparently is, or how tough and competitive you are. The elite quarterbacks in the league, look at it, and except for maybe Lamar Jackson, who's got a terrific arm but not next level, but Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, those guys all have extraordinary arm talent, and we're not seeing that from this group. It may be in next year's group. The Louisville quarterback may have that. He has some other areas he's not as strong. But if you're not possessing an elite arm, you're Kenny Pickett. I mean, you're just taking another lap around the Kenny Pickett track.
So, do you think the Steelers should pay $20 million for Cousins, or do you think they should keep trying to convince this guy Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't seem interested in at all? I got 5 seconds. Cousins or Rodgers?
If I had a choice, I'd go Cousins.
There you go, Mike.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
I'm still optimistic eventually this will happen and they'll get it together. I mean, if Florida can get their act together, Sam, with the tribes, I believe that California can too.
It would bring a lot of money to the tribes, which is also something they really care about. It's an $8 billion market. Conservatively, it could be even more when it legalizes. The sports books would be sharing revenue with the tribes, essentially doing all their operations and forking over a percentage directly to the tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC. That is King Ty Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, Mike, let's talk about tonight's NBA playoff games here.
Yeah, let's go to tonight. We have 3 games in the NBA playoffs. We'll begin with the earliest one. The Bucks down 1-0 to the Pacers, back to Indiana. And the good news for them is they are going to get Dame Time back tonight. How about that? Dame Time. Back in the mix. Of course, he's been out for weeks now. And he's going to be getting back involved. Now, if you remember, we discussed yesterday about him jawing with the street clothes on from the bench on Saturday afternoon in game number 1. That was brought up to Doc Rivers yesterday. And I actually, Doc says a lot of silly things, but at least he's right about this. You know, you can't really be talking if you're in street clothes. You got to play. Here's Doc.
And, talking street clothes, unless it's going to be Greg Anthony, and you have to go way back to understand what I'm saying there. That Dame had the same kind of sweater as Greg Anthony had shirt on. Fashion statement there, I will say that. So, yeah, I don't know is the answer. You got to play. You can't talk. I always say you can't talk your way out of it. It's like, if you're going to get in the fight, you can't talk your way out of it. You got to go do it. And I think the one thing that the playoffs are showing is they're going to let you play. I watched that Houston and game last night, and my gosh, they're going to let you play, and that's what we want. I like that. I think it's better. It's a better brand of basketball. It's more competitive, but we have to be able to play through it. You just can't be the hitter and then not be able to take the hits. You got to be able to do both.
Okay, whatever. All I know is that Dame Time is playing tonight, and as far as I'm concerned, the Bucks have to win. You go down 2 to this team, you're losing. Because they're better than the Bucks to begin with, and they still have 3 home games left after this one. They're hard to beat in the field house, and I think it's pretty indicative of that it's going to be a good game that the number's only 4. I mean, they beat the crap out of them in game 1, and this game's 4, and it's not because of Dame Time. It's because of desperation. I believe teams that are desperate, you saw it last night, they both won. The Pistons and the Clippers both won. I think the Bucks are going to give the Pacers a game tonight, and I think they're going to cover at worst. I think they're going to win.
4.5 is where I have it at. See some 4s as well, like you mentioned. So some 4s, 4.5s right now. 228.5 the total. I'm with you. I think you're going to get a little a little pushback from the Bucks here tonight. I think that you'll get a little bit of resistance, at least definitely with that 4.5. Did you see this thing with Halliburton today? They did this players poll in the Athletic. He was voted by the players the most overrated player in the league, Tyrese Halliburton. So I'm sure he's going to be thinking about that tonight. Rudy Gobert and Trae Young were second and third, in case you wanted to know. Most overrated players in the NBA.
And Trae Young was voted overrated?
Third. He was third behind Halliburton and Gobert.
I don't agree with that based on the fact that he plays literally almost naked by himself in Atlanta. He's never played with an all-star on his team ever in his entire career in the NBA. I mean, that organization does nothing at all to help him. They expect him to go out and carry that team full of nobodies to the playoffs every year. And did you hear what he said the other day? He said, get rid of that broke-ass play-in game. You play 82 games, you should know who's in the playoffs. That play-in nonsense. And it's not because they lost. It's because he's probably right. It's a contrived gimmick by Adam Silver to create interest in the NBA, just like the play-in tournament at the beginning in November, then the play-in tournament in April. And I'll say this, I don't believe for 1 minute, I really don't. I don't believe the greatest ratings in the history of the NBA were this past weekend. I don't believe that for a minute. I don't even want to believe it. I won't believe it. I wouldn't believe it if they showed me that it's true, because those games sucked onions. And there is no way people watch that, Shaq. He said today, he bragged today, it was the greatest ratings in the history of the league ever, Saturday and Sunday. There is no effing way. I mean, those games were so awful. I was barreling off of them. I was dive bombing off of them. They were so boring. Stop. They'll sell you anything this league. Play-in tournaments. They got them at both ends of the season. Christ, why do they even have an NBA championship anymore? What's that, the third or fourth tournament of the year? I mean, honestly. And I'll tell you what, that's why Dame Time talks Shaq to Halliburton, because nobody likes him. Because he thinks he's hot Shaq, and he's not. He doesn't have anything. He's another guy with no range, just like Dame Time.
Dame time. There you go for the Pacers and the Bucks. Next, Game 2 in OKC, where the Grizzlies and the Thunder will get together. Of course, this after the 50-plus point win for the Thunder in game number 1. 14.5 with a 229.5 total. They're going to get run out of the building again, the Grizz?
I'm going Rogie Vachon again here and taking the Grizzlies and 14 and a hook. They have no chance at all. Game over. Series over. Blowouts. It's no chance city, right? And they got beat by 51. They got humiliated. They got embarrassed. Well, what I would do is I would go out tonight and I would start cheap shotting people and playing basketball war. It's war now. You beat us by 51. Now we're going to start breaking some noses. And we're going to break some wrists. And we're going to knock some people down. And we're going to tackle people. We're going to hold them. We're going to cheat. We're going to do whatever it takes. We're going to knead people in the onions. We're going to do whatever it takes to be in this game. Now, you know what they need? They need more of that Bane shoving teammates on the sideline. He should be shoving people on the court. And they need Ja Morant to bring out the grenades and start playing like a badass. And Zach Edey needs to play like a grown man instead of a wussy. And Jaren Jackson Jr. needs to start knocking down shots too. I mean, they quit in the second quarter like a bunch of bees. So show the F up tonight and make it a game at the Paycom. Give me the 14 and a hook, and they show up with some level of pride and dignity.
I mean, you got to have a little bit of that after. When you get embarrassed like that, you got to have a little bit of pride to come back the next game. Even if you don't win, at least be in it tonight in Game 2.
Looking for an edge in betting basketball? Injuries can make or break a game. Get insider knowledge from Dr. David Chow and the team of experts with Sick Picks at Sports Injury Central. We reveal hidden health-based advantages the sports books miss. Our doctors provide insights, and our algorithm tells you who to bet on. Spreads, props, totals, in-game bets, Sick Picks covers it all. Go to SickScore.com and sign up for Sick Picks and use the promo code SportsGrid for a free week today.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats typically in your direction if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I won't deny it's a dangerous bet with Memphis. They got their ass plastered in that game, and I won't deny that Oak City's 10 times better than them. I'm hanging my hat on simple pride. Like, really? 51 points, and they were laughing on the sideline, and when they were losing by 40 and 50, they were laughing like it was funny. Like, honest to Christ, can somebody show the F up and man up? And, like, make it a war. Like, you know, this guy, Shea Gilgeous, is incredible, MVP, everything else, but somebody's got to rake him. You know, just make him earn a living tonight. Like, I think they have to get down and dirty with Sweeney Murdy. I really do. I think they got to get violent and physical, and even if it takes getting tossed, double text, coach, I don't care who gets thrown out. Like, they have to make it a war tonight because they're overmatched. They are in big trouble, but I think they can be in the game if they could knock down. Jaren Jackson's very capable of hitting threes. So's Bane. So's Ja. Start balling. Start playing like it. Like they didn't show up for the playoffs. Like, I've never seen anything. That was the worst game I ever saw in my life.
Hit some shots and start some fights. I mean, that's it. I mean, just get involved. Hit some shots and start some fights. That's all you need to do, and you can cover that big number.
That's what's up,
Key. That's it. Just get involved.
I told you one night we were
game.
playing in a title game, and we were losing by 30. I slew-footed a guy, like NHL style. Just take his legs out.
Now, that Grizzly Thunder game, that's a 7:30 East tip. That game's on TNT. The Pacer-Buck game is on NBA TV tonight. So the only way to see that is on NBA TV. T-Wolves and Lakers will be on TNT, the late-night game. Game number 2. Of course, the T-Wolves beat the Lakers' ass at the Crypto on Saturday night. Here is head coach J.J. Redick. Yeah, that was a bit of a wake-up call.
I think a lot of times you would hear that word and you would think, oh, it's the point guard calling a play. No, it's just all of the normal stuff that we try to do, and when we do it, we're really good. Being organized is screening. Being organized is getting to the proper spacing. Being organized is getting the corners filled after makes and misses. That's being organized. It's not like, you know, there's set calls you would call after dead balls, free throws, and whatnot. But our early offense stuff, like any team, it's the same.
It's remarkable how many possessions we had. 4 guys at half court with 15 on the clock, like literally just like bunched up together at half court. So that's what it means to be organized.
I think he's great. I think this guy's great. You know why? Because he played, and I mean, legit played. You know, this guy's career at Duke and in the NBA was legit. He's a legit sharpshooter, and he is a straight shooter as a coach and calls guys out. And I got to be honest with you, Mike. I will be really surprised tonight if they don't win, honestly, by like 10. They have to win this game tonight. They cannot, in Lakers faithful at the Crypt, they cannot lose this game tonight to the T-Wolves under any circumstances whatsoever. I mean, it is as must-win as ever. This is, and it's not about Luka having 37. It's about everybody balling out.
I'm with you. I think that this is kind of going to be in the opposite. Whereas the Clippers and Nuggets, every game I think is going to be tight. Every game is going to be close. I think this will be 1-1 also, but I think it's going to be like game 1, except this time the Lakers are going to smash the T-Wolves tonight. I think it's blowout city. I think the T-Wolves are one of these teams that still, you know, you lean on them a little bit and get up 15, 20, whatever it is. I think that you can push them over, and they'll just quit for the night, and they'll say, yeah, you know what, we got our game here already. We'll go home 1-1. It's 5.5 right now, 10.5. I'm laying it with the Lakers.
I mean, yeah, what he said.
Let's go. Lean them over, push them down, and lean them over. And I think you'll get a good performance from LeBron tonight. Big performance from LeBron. I think he ain't going to be going
honestly,
down 0-2.
I mean, this guy did nothing in game 1, and he's a monster, 260-pound monster. He needs to play like it. He needs to attack the 10. I got to tell you, I don't like his game as much extended as I do when he bangs and drives. When he backs a guy down because he's just a mammoth man, just ripped out of his mind and can bang anyone he wants down into the low block and then finish with the fingers on the glass or at the rim. Him pulling, he's always pulling up now from 30 feet and shooting and step back, one-legged wing daggers. I'm sick of that. He's too big, too strong, too violent to not be going to the 10.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats typically in your direction if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
to be honest. I'm watching this Man City Etihad game against Aston Villa. It's 1-1 in the 71st minute. And Liverpool's running away with the table and the Premier League. That's a done deal. But anything's better than those crappy basketball NBA shows they run on ESPN. Honestly, I want to stick a knife in my eyeball. I'll watch soccer. I'll watch replays. I'll watch I Love Lucy from 1974 before I'll watch that Laker Love Festival. Honestly, I can't even take it. Don't get me started. All right, Carver High, as we turn the corner here, can we make fun of Nico some more? It's always fun.
We can always make fun of Nico. I told you yesterday that was kind of happening when we were coming on, that I would give you a few today. Here's the first one, and this was, I thought, the best one, really. He says that he didn't realize how upset the Mav fans were going to what extent they'd be upset that he was trading away Luka Doncic.
I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, you know, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage. And so unfortunately we weren't able to do that, so it just continued to, you know, go on and on.
Yeah, like none of them played together, like ever.
I mean, that's something else to admit. I mean, even if that's true, that's information I would have kept to myself. You're the general manager of the team.
Yeah.
You don't know how much your fans, how much they love Luka.
Now they hate him even more. Now they hate him even more. Like every time he opens his mouth, it gets worse.
Well, here was one reporter yesterday just coming right out and saying it. Why do you still have a job?
Why shouldn't you be fired?
Well, one, I think I've done a really good job here, and I don't think I can be judged by the injuries this year. You have to judge from totality, from beginning to end. And so I think I have a really good working relationship with Patrick. I think you add in Rick, the leadership that we have.
They have no leadership. Really they screwed up when they stole the team.
You'll see next year when our team comes back, we're going to be competing for a championship.
Okay. I give him a short shelf life, is what we like to call it. I do not see how in any way, shape, or form this guy, frankly, I got to be honest, can turn his career around in Dallas because his name is mud. I mean, honestly, you know how they hate politicians everywhere? They hate this guy 10 times more than any politician. The governor, what's his name, Abbott in Texas, it doesn't matter what that guy does, they'll like him more than this guy. This guy, his neighbors let their dogs cable in his yard. Everyone hates him. The paper boy won't even deliver his paper. No one likes him. You are doomed. I don't care who you are. When you do something like what he did, and then he talks about the relationship that he has with these owners. Here's another news flash for you. The people in Dallas hate the new owners, and they would literally give their children, their firstborn, to have Mark Cuban back running the Mavericks, because this would have never happened.
You're right. This all can be led back to one thing.
These new owners are as bad as that Phoenix Suns owner that everyone hates. He's as bad as Bob Nutting, who everyone in Pittsburgh hates. They hate Bob Nutting more than all of them combined, including Nico.
Yeah, Nutting's got them all by miles. That's because money. He didn't take $1 out of his pocket. I mean, at least these guys, I guess, spend money, unlike Bob, who refrains from doing that. All right, how about hockey?
Everybody loves hockey,
especially Stanley Cup playoff hockey. When you get a night like last night, all 4 games really good. Let's start in Dallas, where, of course, the Stars were up against it. They lost Game 1 at home on Saturday, needed to even the series up, and they do just that. They were down and kept coming back. They tied the game at 3 in the third. We go to overtime. Colin Blackwell.
Who?
On ESPN doing the honors.
Miles Wood does turn it over. Here's Colin Blackwell going at Johnson. Blackwell into the slot, shoots. Save made through traffic by Blackwood. Blackwell scores! It's over! This series is tied!
That was a great picture. Not bad for a guy that never is in the lineup. Like, they scratched this guy more than mosquito bites, honestly. So I'll say this. That was a great win for them, and they're still losing this series. It doesn't matter. They're losing. That the Avs are better.
I don't dispute that they're going to lose this series, but I'm really glad, not only because I have the over 5.5 games, but I'm really glad that they showed a little bit of fight at least, because I thought this could be a very long series, and now hopefully it's on its way to that. Can they get a game in Colorado? We shall see as the series now shifts over there with it 1-1 with the game. They play game 3 on Wednesday night. So tomorrow night they'll play the game 3.
Well, it's noticeable for
series.
me, like, that the guy, Seguin, scored. He hadn't played in 60 games. So he finally is playing hockey again, and he's scoring goals, which I think is important. I think it makes up for Robertson's injury. And let's just look at it this way. From my standpoint, if you're this guy Blackwell scoring a goal and you've played in about 10 games a whole year because they scratch you and you don't matter, and you're the guy scoring the winner, that's a bad sign to me to the Dallas Stars. Some people would say, oh, it's great that a no-name guy had the goal. What it means to me is nobody else that matters is doing anything on the Stars. And that Colorado's getting the McKinnons involved and their best players involved. Rantanen still hasn't scored. Okay, they got all this big trade for Rantanen. So let's see what happens when they go to the Ball Arena in Denver, which I think Dallas is going to have problems there.
And I think that with Rantanen so far, I think it's in his head a little bit. I was watching. I had Rantanen for some stuff last night.
He didn't do anything in Carolina either.
He was missing the net. He took a awful penalty in the last 2 minutes of the third period that put Colorado on the power play before they went to overtime. He looks like it's in his head a little bit in this series. And now he's going back to Colorado in his old stomping grounds. Maybe that wakes him up a little bit, but I'm not too sure.
No, they're going to give him the business, and it's going to get worse.
Most likely the case. The other late-night game in the Western Conference was wild as well. The Kings had a 4-0 lead over the Edmonton Oilers. Then it was 4-2. Fiala put them up 5-2. In the third period. And then here comes Edmonton. Perry, Hyman, and then McDavid with about a minute and a half to go ties the game at 5. We're going to overtime, right? Think again. We're not going to overtime. Philip Deneau on ESPN.
Face-off win for the Oilers. Here is McDavid. Trying to backhand it in low. That's broken up by Gavrikov. Racing up ice. More for LA. Hits the brakes. Hits the trailer. Now
Great job, I thought. There, they got to turn the play-by-play guy's mic up a little bit. You couldn't hear him at all, and it's because of that horn that they play at these arenas.
Yeah,
they play that horn so much it drives you nuts.
I honestly thought it was a problem in all the games last night. I thought and I like having the crowd. I like having the crowd or the on ice mic and hearing all the things going on down at ice level. Yeah. The downside to that is when the team scores, it completely blows the announcer away. I mean, it just blows the announcer away, and they just can't get anything. Can't get a good call on it. We will come back, and I didn't know this going into last night. I'm sure we've heard it before, but I had no idea that Ovi had never scored an overtime playoff winner before in his career. Of all the stuff he's done.
In like 48 overtime games.
In 48 overtime games, he had never done it before. He did it last night. I'll play it for you. I'll give you the Joe Beninati call of the Ovi winner last night when we come back.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats typically in your direction if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, so let's talk about Ovi and the Caps. I actually was not enamored with their win. I thought they blew the game. Like, you're up 2-0 at home, and then, I mean, you let these kids come back on you. And not only that, they had every chance in the world to win the game.
They had every chance in the world to win the game. The Capitals had a 2-0 lead going into the third period. Caulfield and Suzuki scored for the Habs to even it up. Caps still had a billion chances, so it goes to overtime. And Alexander Ovechkin, it's been his year, that's for sure, and he did something he had never done before. Joe Beninati on Monumental Sports Network.
Off this draw, it squirts loose. On tempo, ready, rebounded tight, score! For the first time in his career, Alex Ovechkin has a Stanley Cup playoff overtime goal.
Did you see the action on that stick? Like the bend on that stick, that it didn't break when he fires those snapshots, those one-timers from that left circle. It's the most lethal shot in hockey. The titanium on that stick, can you believe the bend in that stick? That is the craziest thing ever. You see guys all the time breaking sticks on slap shots. My man had that thing like bent like a rubber band. And I'll tell you what, I love me some Joe B. I mean, Joe Beninati is one of our dear friends on this show. Great guy. As good as they come. I'm so happy for him that he gets to call those games on Monument and get to do Ovi's 895, get to do his overtime goal in the playoffs. I think it's badass. He's just a great play-by-play guy.
Tremendous job by Joe B there. All right, and then the other game last night was pretty good too. It just didn't have the theatrics of the others. The Jets beat the Blues 2-1. Kyle Connor actually did it again. He scored the goal late in game one that won it for Winnipeg. And he had the game winner early in the third. It holds up 2-1. Yep. Winnipeg takes a 2-0 lead back to St. Louis, where they will play game 3 on Thursday.
Tell me I'm wrong. They're a really good team, and it's a tough barn to play in. And I got to be honest with you. I'm starting to smell. And now look, I think Colorado's got a shot, but with this Hellebuck and this Vegas team with Hill and that deep Vegas team, I'm smelling Vegas and the Jets in the Western Final. I don't know if that's possible. Is
Yes.
that possible?
Yes.
It is possible.
Yeah,
because
they're
I
on
think those are the
opposite
two.
sides.
They are the two best teams.
If Winnipeg finishes this off, which they're up 2-0 now, they play the winner of the Colorado-Dallas series in the next round, and Vegas will play the winner of the Edmonton-LA series.
So let me ask you a question: if you're into this President's Trophy jinx nonsense, that would mean they should lose this series. If they win this series, does that still apply, or do they shed that rumor and move on and win the next round as well and go to the Western Final?
There's been a lot of teams. It's never a first round thing per se. It's just not winning the cup. Like, we've had teams make the Final Four, make the final that have won it, and they just never finish the job. So I don't think that the curse gets them yet, but it doesn't wash it away just by winning in the first round. They got a lot of heavy lifting to do down the road. That's for sure. They got to finish this one
I think
first.
they're going to lose in St. Louis.
One game or both games? I think they'll lose one game there.
Now, look, both games were, 5-3, 2-1, and it was a 3-3 game with a minute and a half left in game one.
Yeah.
So
St. Louis played well.
I think the Blues can win both games in St. Louis.
Let's get to tonight now. 4 more games for us, including a couple teams that haven't even played yet, that are finally going to be playing their game one. Why don't we start, though, with New Jersey and Carolina? Because look at this schedule tonight. It's a little funky, but it might not be bad if the games are good. They're staggering the starts of all 4 games. So the Devils in Carolina, 6 o'clock East, down in Raleigh, is when they will begin the hockey tonight. Carolina, big lumber here, minus 285, plus 230 for the Devils, and a 5.5.
So what that means is everyone right now in Raleigh is having dinner at some place outside of that arena and getting ready to go over to the game that starts horribly at 6 p.m. That is just an awful start time for anything as far as I'm concerned. But the Devils got their ass beat so badly in that game one. They looked like, it was November or something, what I was watching. I think they're in big trouble. 2 of their best players are out of the lineup tonight. You lose Hughes, you lose Dillon. They already got their ass beat. And this other team has absolutely no problems, no injuries, nothing to report. They're just doing whatever they want. I would think it's Carolina again, and I'd be willing to lay the goal and have it even money.
Yeah, I don't see much from the Devils here tonight. They got injuries on the back line. They've got all kinds of problems. I think it's Carolina again. Hughes isn't playing. Dillon's not playing. They got issues. This is like, I think it's just like the other night. It's like 4-1, 4-0 Carolina. Something like that. Worse. It could get worse. You're exactly right. Next game, 7:30 East. Senators will try to even the series with the Leafs in Toronto. Minus 170 for the Leafs, plus $1.40 for the Sens, and a 5.5.
Yeah, I just don't see the bleeding stopping with a Band-Aid. I think the Leafs keep scoring goals and win again.
I'm with you. I think the Leafs win too. Also, I think they go up 2-0, and I think this thing's over in like 5. I don't think you're going to get much. I think Ottawa's got enough firepower to go against Toronto, especially if they're going to allow them to score 5-6 goals a night. It's going to get ugly for them fairly quickly. We will come back. I've got 2 more games tonight, including we finally get to see the Panthers and the Lightning. They have not played yet. It is game 1 at MLA, and it started at 8:30 tonight. So you got to wait even 8:30 to start down at MLA. So we will hear from Paul Maurice as the Panthers look to start their defense of the Cup. And as for Tkachuk, he skated this morning at the morning skate. A true game-time decision if he's going to be out there tonight for Florida.
You got to be concerned with this guy's groin if it's still that raw every night for a series.
knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shador Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats typically in your direction if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, so Paul Maurice, the Panthers coach, getting ready for the first game of this series. Every other series is like underway, well underway. This thing hasn't even started yet. And not only that, it won't start till 8:30 East tonight. Christ, you think it'll even start then?
Yeah, some extra time, I guess, to get gassed up down outside Amalie Arena with all the beer carts going into the game. Here is, of course, Paul Maurice. The Panthers and the Lightning know each other very well over the past couple seasons. They faced each other now for the third straight year in the playoffs. The Panthers kind of faded down the stretch. They did not play well to finish out the season. Here's Maurice talking about that.
There's been some kind of narrative on TV about how...
There's the first lesson in life. Turn it off.
There's been some kind of narrative about the end of the season looking like you guys are limping into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you have to say about that and versus how you actually played?
It's true. If you play 9 games in 15 days on 3 sets of back-to-backs, you're going to get a little banged up and you're not going to have much gas at all. So we had actually built that into our mindset. And I'm talking about staff and decisions that we would make, how hard we would run players, how many minutes they would play, some things like that, knowing that we had to manage the year here this year. And it had nothing to do with last season or how much we played. Our fitness numbers at camp.
It had nothing to do with that.
That wasn't an issue. We just knew that I think we had 20 of our last 44 games were on the front end of the back end of back-to-back, so we had to manage it.
Yeah, whatever. Right. Look, look on the bright side. I like Paul a lot. He's been good to me over the years. He's got a Stanley Cup ring. That's it. Who cares about anything else? He already got it. He got his name on the Stanley Cup. Like, they're either going to get it done here against the Lightning or they aren't. They went to 2 straight finals. Is that not good enough for everybody? Like, media people asking him stupid questions, whatever. You got a ring. Like, just whatever you say, genius. These reporters asking him questions about how tired they are and everything else. I've heard that. Now, didn't they say the first year they went and the next year that they'd be tired? They played so much hockey, then they won the Stanley Cup. Now they're saying, it's 3 years in a row. They're just so tired. By the way, City scored in the 94th minute, and they're up 2-1 on Villa. They're going to beat them at Etihad.
As of for tonight, the Lightning are the favorites at home in game number 1. I got them now up to minus 125, plus 105 for the Panthers, and a 5.5.
Look, I don't trust Matt Tkachuk's groin. He's skating. He's feeling okay. They're going to let him warm up and see if he can go. Like, if I have to ask all these questions, I don't trust him in a 7-game series right now with that groin. It's not going to get any better, even though it's been since the Four Nations, right? So they're hoping he's going to be okay. Ekblad can't play. They're playing in a place, I'm just going to say it. This team, Tampa, they are, I'd say, top 2 in the league at home, right? So I like them tonight at that price. I got them at minus, you had them at minus 118 right there, minus $1.20. I like the Lightning at home tonight. They're one of the best home teams in the league. I don't buy home ice anymore in Stanley Cup playoffs unless the team is so dominant, like the LA Kings and the Lightning when they play on their home ice. So dominant that they never lose. That's when you say, okay, that's a tough building to play in. But when you're like, whatever, 10 games over 500 at home, that's good. But when you win every single game at home, but like 5, that's really good.
Yeah, I'm in on the Lightning tonight as well. I think they're going to win, and I think that they're not going to play Tkachuk. It really doesn't sound like he's quite ready. I think that they're going to be holding him out a little bit further. Maybe he'll pull the hero thing, and he'll go out there tonight. I don't think Marchand has really gelled with them yet. He has only played, 9-10 games
line guy now,
down the
this
stretch.
guy Marchand. He's going to run out of there in the offseason.
Yeah, I think it's Tampa tonight. I think it's Tampa for the series. I've got one last game. It's late, 11 o'clock East at the T-Mobile. We'll do that. And I've even got your boy Kyle Dubas for you today, as he's going to explain how teams get better. He's going to give you a lesson on how teams get better. There's different routes you can take, and Kyle's going to tell you what some of those are when we return.
Jesus, this guy with his bad luck. Honest to God.
Fantasy baseball. Let's be honest, George. There's a lot of things antiquated about this game that we love. Man, like I would love to try some new little wrinkles here. And so for Sam's question here on the show, I think it's at least fair to ask the question, with catchers in fantasy baseball, and sometimes we're playing in 2 catcher leagues, why at this stage of the game? I have no idea. If you're still doing it, you're behind in the times. Buy or sell, catchers should get a fantasy point for throwing out runners trying to steal. So essentially awarding a defensive play to get an offensive point in fantasy. You gonna buy or sell this?
I mean, so this didn't even cross my mind. I hate the catcher position because they get hurt so much. You play in a 2-catcher league, I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's like, what are we doing here? There are not 24, assuming a 12-team league, there are not 24 catchers to draft in baseball. There's just not. Although I'm the first person to tell you, Herrera's probably out there in a bunch of leagues there because we didn't see that power coming. Should he get a point? I think if you're going to do this, by the way, why a point? What are you throwing out? 2 base runners a week? It's 2 points. Who cares? You know, should it be more? I mean, if we're going to do this, should we do it right? Should it be 5 points? You know, so I'd probably go that direction. If you're going to do it right. Give him more points. And by the way, then let's go further. You make an error, you're losing points. No one gets an error anymore. All right, if you get an error, it means you really screwed up. I was watching that Yankee-Pittsburgh game yesterday because I think it was who cares? Somebody hit the ball hard to Isaiah Falefa at shortstop. He didn't have to move, but he dropped it. They called it a hit because he hit the ball hard with 3-hopper. Oh, hard hit, error. So let's do that too. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with this, but you need more than one. It can't just be a point that's meaningless. You need more than one.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.